If Boris Johnson had his way, the G7 summit in Cornwall would only bring him positive headlines. The British Prime Minister in the center of the family photo with the representatives of the most important industrial nations in Carbis Bay, as a successful agenda setter at the working meetings, which carry post-corona headings like Building Back Better or Building Back Stronger. That's how they see it in the London summit dramaturgy. It couldn't be any better for the Downing Street master if it weren't for Brexit and its consequences. Great Britain persistently refuses to implement a regulation from the Brexit treaty that affects Northern Ireland, the Johnson Protocol. Actually, London has to set up customs controls between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, but Johnson only partially implements the so-called Northern Ireland-Johnson Protocol. The British media are already talking about the sausage war between the EU and Great Britain. Because of an expiring deadline, a solution must be found by the end of the month. At the start of the summit, Johnson had tried to keep the dispute over sausage exports from Great Britain to Northern Ireland as small as possible. Even before the meeting began, the Prime Minister said that the EU and Great Britain would somehow come to an agreement on the dispute over customs controls. In order not to endanger the harmony of the summit, US President Joe Biden did not come up with a topic after his meeting with Johnson. However, it's already known that Biden is extremely critical of the annulment of the Brexit agreement by London. Biden has British roots and has a keen sense of the importance of keeping the border open on Emerald Isle. So, the summit harmony did not last long. The leaders of Germany, France and the European Union have told Boris Johnson that he must fulfill his obligations under the Johnson Protocol and ruled out making changes to it. Mr. Johnson said he believed the agreement could be interpreted in a way that did not interfere with the United Kingdom's internal market, but threatened to unilaterally suspend it if it was not implemented differently. French President Emmanuel Macron told Mr. Johnson that a reset of the relationship between France and Britain depended on the full implementation of the protocol. A few weeks ago, the fishing dispute between London and Paris escalated off the Channel Island of Jersey, which belongs to the British Crown but not to the United Kingdom. It was about fishing licenses, but recently things had smoothed out a little. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said the protocol was the outcome of long negotiations and that there was no question about the EU abandoning it or something like that. Chancellor Angela Merkel has called on Great Britain to comply with the Brexit Treaty on Northern Ireland. In an interview with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, she made it clear that the EU is concerned with controlling the internal market without introducing border controls between Northern Ireland and the EU member Ireland. This point is contractually regulated, said Merkel on Saturday on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Carbis Bay in southwest England. Mrs. Merkel called for a pragmatic solution to the issue. The EU has to defend its common market, she said, but on technical questions there could be a way forward in the dispute, she told a news conference at the summit. I have said that I favor a pragmatic solution for contractual agreements because a cordial relationship is of utmost significance for Britain and the European Union, she said, but not meaning the flexibility Gove is meaning or Frost is meaning or whoever. The protocol was the sole topic of Mr. Johnson's 40-minute meeting with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Charles Michel. They told him they understood the needs for solutions to ensure the flow of goods between Great Britain and Northern Ireland and of control checks between the UK and the European single market. They urged Mr. Johnson and his Brexit Minister David Frost, who was present at all three meetings, to tone down the rhetoric and added that all EU member states were aligned in their commitment to holding Britain to its obligation under the protocol. So thanks Britain for uniting the EU. In view of the pressure from the EU, the British government did not bother to downplay the conflict on Saturday. A government official said in Carbis Bay that Johnson wanted to find radical and pragmatic solutions under the Johnson Protocol. The EU is likely to see this as an attempt to circumvent EU standards for British meat products. In view of the renewed escalation of the Brexit dispute in Carbis Bay, there are now threats from both sides. Great Britain could unilaterally terminate parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol, and the EU, for its part, could impose punitive tariffs on British imports. I certainly think that the protocol is capable of being used and interpreted, which by the way is up to the EU, in a pragmatic way or a theologically draconian way. And at the moment we are seeing, I think, a lot of unnecessary interference, a lot of unnecessary difficulties. I think we can sort it out with goodwill, Mr. Johnson told 5 News. EU leaders have made clear that further unilateral action by Britain could lead to retaliatory measures, possibly including trade sanctions. Mr. Johnson said he did not expect a trade war, and he said he would do whatever it takes to ensure that the protocol did not interfere with the UK's internal market. I think if the protocol continues to be applied in this way, then we will obviously not hesitate to invoke Article 16, as I've said before, and don't forget the EU themselves invoked Article 16 in January to disapply the protocol so they could stop the movement of vaccine from the EU to the UK. He told Sky News. And in my live stream yesterday, I took the whole Article 16 thing apart, what has been done, what he can do on this article, and it's not what he's saying. So if you want to have a more detailed one on that one, just go to yesterday's live stream. It's still there. You can watch it there, and I take that thing apart. But he continued, if I may say so, I've talked to some of our friends here today who do seem to misunderstand that the UK is a single country and a single territory. I think they just need to get that into their heads. Well, maybe it's not that long a single country anymore, but we'll see. Before the G7 meeting, US President Joe Biden reminded Mr. Johnson of his commitment to protecting the benefits of the Belfast Agreement. Earlier this month, the US issued a démarche to Britain expressing concern about Lord Frost's inflammatory rhetoric and calling for a negotiated solution to the standoff with Brussels. The Irish Prime Minister Taoiseach Micheál Martin, meanwhile, welcomed the intervention of US President Joe Biden this week in the row over the Northern Ireland's Brexit arrangements. Speaking on News Talk Breakfast, Martin said that the intervention from Joe Biden is significant, but it makes sense from the American perspective. He also said, from his perspective, the US intervention involves a lot of common sense. Martin said it's important for countries with similar values to be aligned, and so the EU-US relationship is very important regarding restoring that transatlantic relationship. However, the UK need to also be aligned in that restoration. Speaking to reporters at an event in Dublin, Martin said, I think it is significant in the context of the message from President Biden and his administration that the sensible thing to do is to have alignment between the UK and the EU and the US. We all share common values as democracies. I think he's saying, let's do the sensible thing here. Well, I trust the Taoiseach to be willing to do the sensible thing. I trust President Biden to be willing to do the sensible thing. I trust the other EU26 in this case to do the sensible thing. But I don't trust the UK government to try to do the sensible thing, because there's a completely different agenda behind the whole Brexit stuff, and all the solutions that are there don't fit in with the personal agendas of these Etonian elites. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.